Hello and welcome to Queendom TV. Today we're going to be continuing discussing Jesy Nelson and everything that's been going on, because I think it's a really important thing for those of us who are supporters of her, for her fans, the baddies, but also for everybody to take into account, because I feel like there's a lot of lies that have been spread about her, a lot of injustices, but there have also been some really extreme things that have happened as a result of this situation. And today I'm going to be talking about probably the most horrifying thing, the thing that I was the most worried about when I heard about what was going on with Jesy, and that is the results of, the toxicity and the hate that has been surrounding, Jesy and the decisions that she's made. Now, we all know, and I've said this before, but just in case it's your first time, I always say that we are all entitled to our own opinion. We don't all have to be a fan of everybody. But what I do think we should take responsibility for is being respectful and certainly not doing things from a place of hate. Now, I want to talk about something that's going to be potentially a bit hard to hear, because we are going to be talking about the subject of, unaliving yourself, as we call it, to try and, swerve the YouTube censorship and stuff. And today I want to talk about, first of all, this is probably going to be another long one, by the way, guys. So grab your tea, grab your snacks if you need to. Maybe grab your tissues, honestly, because it's going to be a bit of a sad one. I want to talk about a young man that goes by the name of Daniel Augusto. And some of you guys already know this young man's name, and some of you don't. And the reason why I'm mentioning this 19-year-old is because he previously was running a page called the Little Mix Forum on Twitter. And I was obviously a fan of Little Mix, and he received a lot of hate, for still supporting Jesy after everything. And in the end, because of the hate and everything that he endured, unfortunately, he made the decision to take his life. Now, he's no longer with us. So this isn't just us discussing an attempt at doing this. This isn't us, being able to question or critique somebody's mental health. This is literally somebody that took their life. And I feel that the people who are responsible, the toxic mixers, the hateful people on the internet, you have blood on your hands. You do. And that's why I wanted to discuss this in a video, and I'm going to go more into this in a little bit, but I really want to just address this situation because first of all, there is a petition you guys can sign so we can get justice, in the hopes of actually finding out the people who are responsible, because somebody needs to be held responsible for this. Now, the funny thing about responsibility in this day and age is people don't think about the consequences of their actions. And for those of you, particularly the younger audience who are watching, if you're in your teenage years and things like that, when you're younger sometimes, and maybe not just because you're younger, sometimes it's adults as well. I don't want to make this an age thing, because I really don't believe age tells you everything or even anything, really. You get older, but it's a choice to grow up, This is what can happen based on people's actions. This young man has chosen to take his life, and somebody needs to be held responsible. And I think when we do things, we don't always think about what's going to happen. We don't always think about, like, oh, we think we're just sending a message to somebody and maybe we'll get blocked. And people say so many things on the internet today, like go, unalive yourself. No one wants you here, this and that and that and that, and being fully honest, even when I was younger, I was quick to just say things I didn't think about. Looking back at some of the things that I've said, like when I was younger, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that I grew up. But I never told anybody, to go and unalive yourself, And so it's like, I just think that we as a people, we really need to take responsibility for the things we say. And that's why even when I'm making these videos, I'm very clear that just because I'm making videos in support of Jesy, it doesn't mean that I'm saying let's go and send hate to people who have affected her negatively. I'm saying let's learn and let's be better and let's do better than those other people, And so if you guys can support this in any way, if you know anything about like who specifically was sending hate, if you know which the accounts were, anything, then please do let me know. There is actually a petition I'm going to be putting in the comment section as well. and I might actually include this in every one of my videos now so that you guys can go and sign it. Let's go and put our signatures and support this thing, you know, because this is the result of the hate on the internet. This is the result of when we just let hate run rampant. This is the result of when you have, you know, even social media platforms that will shut down somebody like myself, who's a woman of faith, trying to spread a message of hope about Jesus, right? But then they will allow people who are sending so much hate. People have even sent hate on my own channel, you know, and those people are allowed to do those things. And of course, as I've said before, it's really hard, unfortunately, to censor all of the things that happen, which is why it takes us to take responsibility of our own actions, because at the end of the day, we're the only person you can control is yourself. Take the responsibility of your own actions, you know, to you start to set the example, you start to set the tone, you know. And the more that we start to do that and be those kinds of people, the more we can let the people who are doing what they're doing, it'll be way clearer to see them, you know, and see them for who they are, and hold them accountable if we are the ones who are not being like the way that we are. And that's why I think it's great that so many of you baddies have had such have gone in such a graceful, respectful and mature way about, you know, conveying how you guys feel, even when you guys send me your opinions, which honestly it's going to be completely anonymous, so you know, you could really say what you want, but even still, you guys are very, very respectful and mature in the way that you guys, like, you know, articulate, you know, what it is that you think or feel about what's gone on, you know. But this is really what happens. This is really what happens. This is what people don't think about. And I'm going to do another video talking about Camila Cabello, because one of you guys mentioned I should mention her in all of this. And I've learned some interesting things about that as well, which I'm going to talk about to do with hate. But this is what happens. This is what happens when, instead of, you know, supporting something, we can all support something that we feel passionately about, which is fine. Like I've said in previous videos, if you're passionate about something and you want to say something, go ahead. I don't think there's an issue with that, right? And I'm not saying that I have the authority to tell you what you can and can't do. That's God gave us free will, right? But when this is happening, this is when we need to really take a step back and think about what we're doing here, because this is not even about music. This isn't even about Little Mix anymore or Jesy. This is about a life that was taken. This is about somebody who never reached the age of 20, who will never get to be an adult and hopefully have realized that the words of these people should never have mattered, you know. And I hope some of you guys take this as a lesson for yourself, that like, it's not worth letting. I know it's so easy for me to say, guys, and when I say I know it's so easy for me to say, I say I know because I've been there. I've been there when like people's words have caused me to consider or do things that I may have never thought to do, or people would never think I would think to do, you know. So I know it's not easy, but we have to just support each other, guys, and speak positivity and speak life into each other and remind ourselves that we're all here for a reason, you know. So I really want to take like a moment for us all to have like a little 30-second silence for Daniel. And I know we're not going to all be taking it at the exact same time, and we're going to be doing this wherever we are, but I feel like the thing that I learned about, I remember when we used to do moments of silence in school, a lot of the time I didn't really understand. Some of the times I didn't understand why, and a lot of the times I did. And I think it's good because it makes you stop your life for a second, you know. And in those 30 seconds, I think, let us all think about, you know, how great it is for us to be here. Let us think for a moment about, you know, if there's anything about ourselves, the way that we talk to people, in any ways that we can improve, you know, so that we're not causing anybody to this extent. Because I don't care what somebody's done, there is no level of criticism you should need to give that person that should push them to do those things. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we're all responsible for somebody, you know, some people, and we're all responsible for, you know, if somebody takes their life. I'm not putting it in that way. I'm saying we're responsible for ourselves, and internally we should always be able to know that we did our best, and that's what we should live towards. That's how I live, you know, as a Christian person. I always think everything I do, I think if I had to die and face God today, I want to know that I could tell him I did my best and know that was the truth, you know. And as long as I can do that, even if I mess up, even if I make mistakes, I can live like that, you know, because then even if something negative happens as a result of something I've done, you know, at least I know that I did my best, you know, rather than looking back and going, oh, well, I could have done this better and I shouldn't have said that and I shouldn't have let myself get to that point, you know what I mean? So yeah, we're just gonna have a 30 seconds for Daniel. Augusto, 19-year-old, who run the Little Mix forum on Twitter, who on the 9th of August, I believe last year, made the decision to take his life. And you guys can look at the petition as well. It's got loads of information. Let's support. Let's send the petition out even more. Let's get some signatures on there. And like I said, guys, if there's anything that you notice, if you know the people who are doing it, if you guys had screenshot, I know you guys are so good with screenshotting stuff and keeping it. And it's good, guys. Keep all the stuff you screenshot, because you know how the internet is. Things get taken. So if you have copies of stuff, even if it's for Jesy, then it's good. But yeah. So we're going to take 30 seconds from now, and I'll let you guys know when we're done. Okay, and as we wrap up the 30 seconds that we've taken just to reflect, I also just want to say a prayer right now for any of you guys, and also Daniel and his family, and anybody who's facing these types of things. I pray that his family and his loved ones and everybody would be comforted. I pray that anybody who is experiencing anything like this in your own lives now, that you would experience healing, that, you know, these feelings would go away, you know, the ones that make you feel like you're not, you shouldn't be here, or you don't want to be here. I pray that you would understand that there is a purpose for you being on this planet. And I pray as well, you know, that some haters would stop being haters, and that they would, you know, change their actions and stop doing what it is that they're doing. But then even when they don't, I pray that for all of us, we would learn not to let the words of people get to us, you know, even though that's hard, you know. And so I pray that for everybody in Jesus' name. But what I want to talk about now is the obsession with Jesy. And that's where I want to go next with this video, is the obsession with her. Because this hate, right, I've realized is an obsession. I've done another video where I'm talking about haters being supporters, which you guys can check out if you want. And I've also done a video talking about how obsession, what was it? Overcoming jealousy, because I think it's important that there is always a way out, always a message of hope attached to the stuff that I'm talking about. But what I want to talk about is something that one of you guys highlighted, right? It's a question I got from one of you guys, and you said what you want to know is, if from the toxic mixers, is if you hate her, why are you following her, watching her music videos, etc. And I thought that was a fantastic question, because why are you following her? Why are you so obsessed? Like, it reminds me of that Mariah Carey song, Why Are You So Obsessed With Me? You know that one? That song, yeah, that's what it reminds me. Why are you so obsessed with her? If you're not happy with her, if you don't support her, if you're not happy with what she did, why are you so obsessed with her? Because first of all, you putting all this attention onto her is making her seem, is giving her a lot of support. You're adding views to her stuff, to her music videos, you're adding to her followers, which I even pointed out the other day, how Jesy actually has more followers than Leanne, and I just pointed that out just to point it out. Wouldn't be surprised if that, like, those extra followers are just all a bunch of people trying to still be hateful towards Jesy, you know, for no good reason. Why are you still following her? Why are you obsessed? What is the obsession? You know, one of you guys also was telling me about how there's fake fan pages, you know, bragging. I think it was the same person actually. The fake fan pages who are bragging, like, that people are falling for the fact that you're fake Jesy fan pages. Why are you going out? Like, we've all, like, for those of us who have, you know, Instagram pages or social media, like, we have to go out of your way to actually, like, go onto a platform, type in your details, select your display picture, etc, etc. Now, if you're doing it for yourself, if you're doing it because you're a true fan of somebody, all of that effort is so worth it, right? Normal, great. But imagine doing all of that just because you hate someone. That doesn't seem like hate to me. That seems like a misunderstood form of love. Like, why are you so obsessed with saying all these things? Why are you taking pride that you've tricked some baddies into thinking that you're a real fan page? I don't get that. Like, and it's not something to be proud of. Like, again, we're moving with all of this stuff. Notice how we've moved so far away from where we started. This all started because there was a group called Little Mix that people were a fan of, that people wanted to support. That's where we started. We moved all the way away from there. Now we're over here where we're looking at this from where like, instead of it being about that, now it's about, you want to make, you want to have a fan page and go against the fans of Jesy. Like, you could be literally, do you know what that time would be better spent doing? That time would be better spent, if you're such a big fan of the rest of the Little Mix, supporting their music, streaming their music, watching their music videos, looking at their Instagram posts, commenting under their stuff. Because guess what? The funny thing about all of this is that so much attention has shifted onto Jesy, good and bad. And the bad attention is not good, by the way, guys. I'm not glad that there's so much negativity. We've already addressed that, right? But Little Mix has suffered in their popularity as a result of everything. And I feel like somehow toxic mixers haven't realized that putting all your attention onto somebody else is also taking your attention off of the person that you support, right? And so if this stuff wasn't so detrimental and literally taking people's lives and everything, then I wouldn't even necessarily be, I would just be like, well, at least Jessy's getting more attention. And this is why people do scandals. This is why scandals work in the entertainment industry. You know why? Because if somebody says publicity, what is it? It's not good. Bad publicity is still good publicity. But what is it? Bad publicity is still good publicity. Something like that. Like basically how publicity is publicity, whether it's bad or good, whether it's for something that you're happy about or whether it's something that is not something you're happy about. As long as you're getting heard about, as long as people are talking about you, people look at that as though it's a good thing. And it really isn't a good thing. You know, it's actually a shame to me that so many people are pushing for that. But that's what's happening with Jesy. And I think with Jesy now, and I'm genuinely praying people are going to leave her alone, like the toxic mixers, and leave, you guys, the fans, the baddies as well alone, because I feel like as her music comes out, if you guys continue, you're just going to help her music do well. You're just going to help people like me see things more. The irony of all of this is, like I said before, I've always been one of those people that has been as like a supporter of Little Mix, but not like a deep level supporter of Little Mix. Like I was never a mixer, for example. And I always supported them from the sidelines. If they had a new song that I really liked, I would support it. I would listen to it, whatever. And I've said before how I used to choreograph I choreographed a couple of their songs. But the reason why I ended up getting so much backing more into Jesy is because of the hate, the toxic mixers. That's what put me so much into it, because people were criticizing my perspective when I made a couple of videos, right? Which has now made me want to delve into this. Now I'm spending pages and pages in my notebook looking into the stuff that you guys are sending me. I'm giving up hours of my life to read you guys' emails, talk to you guys on social media, checking on Jessy's stuff, watching her documentary. All this stuff is causing, all that hate has caused for her to get more support. And that's just me talking from my perspective. Imagine how many other people are like that. Imagine how many other people who like me, when they hear stuff like from some of the toxic mixers making up lies and stories, right? How many of them say, you know what? I'm going to go and look into this for myself and I'm going to see what it is. Because that's what I'm like. I was like, I have to see this. That's why I said to you guys to send me in the proof. Although I don't necessarily include them in the videos, I use it as a basis for, what I understand. I'm like, okay, so now that I've seen this stuff, I've made an understanding for myself. I've basically gone and supported all these other things, all the interviews that I've watched, I've added views to, all the articles. They've shown that I've been looking at that, and all that stuff. I'm talking more about her, so even the people of my subscribers, not that I have loads of subscribers, but any person who's on my channel is now getting more exposure to hearing about what's going on, and other people can as well. So it's like, it backfired. Your hatefulness ultimately led to the support, which is why I feel like it's just an obsession. And I use the word obsession because I feel like sometimes when you have an obsession, it's like you get to this heightened state of being so focused on something that it's like your logic leaves the building. Like your logic leaves the building, because logically, if you dislike somebody so much, you wouldn't draw so much attention to them. You would draw attention away from them. There are plenty of things, people, and I don't hate anybody, because I don't believe I should hate a person. God says that we should love all people. I love all people, right? But it doesn't mean that I have to support everything that they're doing. Some people I can love from a distance. Not everybody's going to be your person. I think it's normal in life that sometimes you might see somebody, you might meet somebody, they're just not your person. It doesn't mean that you dislike them. It doesn't mean that you have to hate them. They're just not your cup of tea. You might hear somebody speaking, you just might be like, I don't like this person. That's fair enough. I think that's normal as human beings, right? What isn't normal is saying you hate somebody and focusing on every single thing that they're doing and every single thing that their fans are doing. That is weird. That is weird to me. It's very, very weird. And it's unhealthy. And the thing is, and this is another reason why I love God, right? Because I feel like when you do something that's negative and you're so obsessed with doing something negative, a lot of the time you end up being the reason why the person you're being negative against does better. Because that's exactly what happens here. You're so busy obsessing over, oh my gosh, hate Jesy, send hate message about her, like talk badly about her fans. All you're doing is drawing more attention to her. All you're doing is adding more views to her content. All you're doing is having her being spoken about by more people. You're helping her in the long run. Of course, there's the other part where like what you're doing is actually hurtful towards people, which you guys know I'm not happy about that. And none of us are. And that just makes you look ugly. Because that's the other thing with these toxic mixers. And I'm going to talk about this in a separate video about are celebrities responsible for their fans. So you guys can check that out. But the thing is, guys, you're not making the rest of Little Mix look good. The toxic mixers who are being hateful, you're not making the rest of Little Mix look good. Because I'll tell you what made Jesy look even better to somebody like myself, as somebody who wasn't as deeply into all this stuff before. Seeing how lovely and kind and that all of the mixers are that I've met, and even the new mixers who are like, oh my gosh, I've just started watching your channel. Everybody's so nice. Everybody's so respectful, so understanding, you know, for the most part. And obviously when I read you guys' comments, sometimes I see you guys can be a little bit, you know, harsh, you know. But as I've said before, I think we should, harsh towards the toxic mixers. Like I said, I think we should be the ones to be, you know, respectful, mature and stuff. But even still, I understand, you know. But you guys are so lovely. So I'm like, seeing that, how lovely you guys are, it tells me something about Jesy, because it looks to me and I go, wow, this must be the kind of person. This tells me about her, because these are the kind of things she's instilled in other people. This is what her fans are like, you know. And so the toxic mixers only make me question the rest of Little Mix more, or more so Leanne specifically, because she's the one who, you know, has outwardly said stuff, including her family, but also Jade's brother, as one of you guys, or a few of you guys actually mentioned about Jade's brother as well, you know. So it just doesn't make them look good. It's not helping. Again, it's backfiring, because you're not making people want to support. You're not making people want to support the people who you are so-called defending. You're not doing that. In fact, I'm sure that if a lot of people were to discover about this young man, Daniel, and I mentioned his name, you know, one of you guys were like, who told me, you're like, I'm not sure if you want to mention the name, but this is his name, etc. And I appreciate that, and I'm so respectful of that, because even for me, I was like, do I want to say his name? But I said, you know what, I am going to say his name, and I'm going to say his name because he's a human being, and because I want people to be held accountable, and I want to know from you toxic mixers, that why are you guys going to be held accountable for this? You know. And I want people to be able to say that they've heard his name so they could do something. Because while you're here sending hate, are you here also supporting this petition against what people are doing? No, you're probably not. You know, and I wonder, I don't know if the rest of the Little Mix members have posted anything about this, but they should have. Because I'll tell you something, guys, I get it. Sometimes when you're in a debate with people, you disagree with people, to a certain extent, you might not necessarily know how much you want to go against that person. You might not necessarily like be able to say like, oh, I definitely, you might not, like everybody has different levels is basically what I'm trying to say. Like when you're disagreeing, some people might take saying something, a certain something as argumentative, somebody else might not, right? So it's difficult for us to say sometimes when an argument or a disagreement or a debate is going too far. But I'll tell you when we definitely know it's going too far is when somebody's taken their life. And so my worry is that, first of all, this happening hasn't stopped a lot of people from being as hateful as they are. Secondly, why haven't the likes of, you know, the other members of Little Mix stood up and said, this is unacceptable? You know, this is unacceptable. Our fans should be doing this. Maybe they don't know. If they don't know, we need to make sure that they know. If you're a mixer right now who only supports the last three girls, Perry, Jade, and Leanne, you should be the one stepping out and saying, you know what, guys, I know we don't agree with what happened. Maybe even you still want to have to agree to disagree about everything that's happened with Jesy. Maybe you still feel she was doing whatever. We can at least all agree that this is too far, can't we? But I feel like we can't even get there because of the obsession. And I feel like a lot of the time when you've got people being hateful, they're almost more obsessed even than the fans themselves. You know, that's how I feel like this whole situation is. And it's really a shame to me that this is where we're at now. It's really a shame that a young man had to take his life. It's a shame that despite this, like when I heard this, when one of you guys mentioned this to me, I was like, so if this has happened, how come people haven't changed what they're doing? How come there's still so much hate going around? Because people aren't learning. But these are real lives, people. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. A life is not a joke. It really isn't. It really is not a joke. Somebody wanting to do something like that because of how much hate they're experiencing, that is absolutely not a joke. And if you are one of the, I'm saying this a lot, guys, for those of you who are
especially for those of you who are younger, like I said, who maybe, or let me say, or maybe I would say less mature, and I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean like, if you haven't thought about the weight and the importance of your actions, now is your opportunity to say, you know what, let me think about what I say, let me think about what I do. Because in the long term, yeah, you don't know what your actions could be doing. And the scariest thing, right, when it comes to things like life, at least other things, when you do them, you can apologize, right? If you tell somebody that there's certain things you can do and you can apologize as long as that person's alive. But once they're gone, they're gone. You know, and that kind of guilt that people have experienced, and a lot of people have experienced guilt from either, you know, directly or indirectly causing somebody to no longer be alive. You don't want that to have to be your lesson of why you shouldn't have done what you've done or shouldn't be speaking the way you are speaking. And like I always say, if you have a disagreement with somebody, there is always a way you can convey that without that person feeling like they have to go to those extremes. And I mean, one of you guys was showing me examples, like the same person who was telling me, who asked the question and was saying about the fake fan pages. You sent me screenshots about them bragging, you know, following her and her fans just to bully them, you know, and harass them. What is that about? Use your time more effectively. If anything, if you're such a big Little Mix fan, the original members, what you should be doing is putting all of that energy into supporting what they're doing now, so that they can have more success now, and so that this whole Jesy thing doesn't cause more problems. But it's like you're not even doing that. You know, and that's why I think a lot of this stuff is going the way it is now. You know, Leanne's going solo. They went on their hiatus that they tried to say they were always going on. Like, what's that all about? What is that all about? You know, you could have been supporting them. Maybe if you guys were posting their music and posting them and songs and doing like what you see, like what the baddies are doing. Some of you baddies have made some fantastic content, by the way, supporting Jesy. One of you guys made it. I've seen if more than one of you guys actually have done lyric videos. One of you guys I was talking to in the DMs, and I was telling you how amazing your editing skills are. You guys are so skilled, by the way. So many of you are so skilled. So you guys need to just go for it. Whatever your dreams are, go and do them, because you guys are really talented. Like, when I see the way you guys a lot of the edits you guys do and stuff like that for Jesy, I'm like, these people are seriously talented. So I would definitely go for that if that's something you want to do. And we can always talk about that, by the way, guys, because I'm a business gal. You know, I've worked in business and stuff. So if you want some, you know, some help, I'll always help you. Sorry, just drinking my coffee from all this talking. But that's what a lot of the baddies do. A lot of the baddies are making their own content to support her, you know, and doing stuff like that. And I think that's awesome. Why aren't you, the rest of you, doing that for the other members? I'm not saying that there's not mixers who are doing that. I'm just saying to the ones who want to be spending all their time underneath Jesy and other people sending hate, you could be doing things to help. You could be doing things to support instead. You know, you could be doing things to expand the people who are getting to see this group you're so-called supporting. And do you know why I point that out? Because the fact that you're not doing that just goes to show that it's not about support. I don't even think this is about supporting the rest of Little Mix. I think this is just about hate. I think it's just about hate. I think it's just about being hateful. One of you guys talked about being woke and the problem of being woke, and I'm going to talk about that as well in another video, and how a lot of people are just going along with something because other people are doing it. And that's why I made this video specifically, because if you're just one of those people who's going along with things, now you know the result of it. Now you know the result. Now you know what happens when people are just being hateful online and going along with things and not thinking about their consequences, short or long term. Because you know what's funny? In this day and age, everybody wants to be adults. Everybody wants to be so old, especially, like, you know, even when I was a teenager, I was like that. Like, I wanted to be older at certain points. But guess what? The older you get, the more you have to the stronger your consequences are for the things that you do. The older you get, the more responsibility people are going to expect for you to be taking, and accountability for your actions. And so what people might overlook when you're 12, they're not going to overlook the same way when you're 22. You know? And so if you want to be seen, you know, as mature, like even with a lot of this stuff to do with Jesy, guys, being fully honest, I started to wonder, like, I was thinking about the age thing. I was thinking, you know, there's some younger people watching my videos, and now I'm worried about how that affects me in terms of, I don't want to be leading, I don't want to be having responsibility over any young people. I don't want to be leading any younger people down the wrong road of anything, you know. And that's just me just talking about some things where I'm trying my best not to be hateful, you know. But the older you get, the more serious the consequences are that you have to take. And the more serious you will feel about the things that you do. because you realize that things have a meaning. As time goes on, as I'm sure we all experience this, as the older you get, the more you realize the gravity of the things that you do, how much things actually do affect you or they don't affect you, you know. And that's why I think it's so important for us to be careful about what we say and not just do things from a place of hate, because it is all fun and it feels like fun and games until you have to pay for those actions. It's the same thing like people who do things and end up in prison. There was a young man, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, his name's TK47, right? And I think he was 19, he's gone to prison now. He was in trouble with the police for a whole bunch of different things, right? And then he was running from justice, pretty much. And he made a song called The Race. You can find it on YouTube, it's probably still there, by TK47. Guess what? TK47 is doing 55 years in prison. Do you know why? Because when he went to court, they played this song, The Race. And a lot of people enjoyed the song. And the song is a decent song. Don't get me wrong. It's a decent song for those of us who over here listening to it. For him, when he thought it was all fun and games, making fun of what was going on, and he was already in the middle of a lot of legal stuff, do you think they were going to be understanding? He was 18 or 19, and he's got 55 years. 55 years. This is the type of thing that the people who are sending hate could be facing if you don't actually change your actions and take responsibility. Because you know what happens when you go to court? Sometimes when you go to court, and I've dealt with these kinds of situations, I've seen what goes on in courtrooms, guys. When you go to court, right, and the judge is there, if the judge deems that you think that you're so adult and you're so understanding, they'll treat you that way. That's why some people get tried as an adult. Now, I don't believe in trying children as adults. I think parents really are the ones a lot of parents need to take a bit more accountability for their children. You guys know I talk about this a lot, that a lot of parents need to take more accountability for their children and be more aware of what their children are doing, you know, online, on social media, and stuff like that, you know. And I really appreciate there was one of you guys in the comment section, and you were saying about, you know, you're talking about like your daughter and stuff, and you were saying you're like, I think you referred to yourself as like a grandma baddie or something. And I really appreciated to see somebody who was actually older that was in what was happening, you know, and that's amazing as well, you know. But we need to take accountability for our actions and understand that as much as you want to fight to have all this acknowledgement, as much as you want to fight to be seen as an adult, as much as you want to appear as an adult online, maybe lie about your age to have your social media account, right? When justice has to happen, when consequences have to be served up, just be prepared for the same level of consequences. Just be prepared, because a lot of people are going to hold you up to that. And especially for these people now who are the responsible for what's happened to Daniel. These people, if they get caught out, no matter what their age, and if there's a big enough noise made about it, I kid you not, you might be a kid, but you may not be treated like a kid in this situation. You could go down for attempted murder. There was a girl I remember there was a story of a girl, and she had what had she done? This girl, and she'd said similar things to her boyfriend, and he said he wanted to take his life. And she said, well, you should just do it then. That's something like what she said, right? And then he did do it in the end. And then it ended up being a massive case because people were like, should she be held accountable? Shouldn't she? Etc., etc. How about save yourself from being in those situations? Save yourself from having to deal with things that maybe you don't understand yet. And just walk in love. You see, you can't go wrong with love. This is the thing. You can't go wrong with love, because as long as you're being loving, the consequences of love is going to be more love. People believe in karma. I don't believe in karma. I believe it's just a biblical thing. When you do something good is going to happen to you, happen back to you. When you because it's like having a garden. If you plant a good seed, you're only going to get the fruit of what you've planted. That's what consequences are. That's why when something good happens to somebody that's done something good, it's not because it just happened. It's because they planted the seed. You don't plant an apple seed and get a banana tree. You plant an apple seed and you get apples. So don't be surprised. And this is why I'm saying this. I'm saying this for us all to learn, because these are the same things I do for myself. Every day I'm checking in with myself. Every day I'm talking to God, like, I should have done that better. I could do this better. I'm not getting overwhelmed by it because I'm a human being. But if it's small things I'm trying to always improve, then I'm always going to be doing better. And I'm never going to do wrong from trying to do the right thing. But I'm definitely going to do wrong from knowingly doing the wrong thing. And I promise you guys, things always come back around. They do. That's why even people who don't believe, like have faith like I do, that's why people believe in karma, or they believe what goes around comes around. because that's how the university was built. The universe was built to be. I believe that's how God built for it to be, you know. So just take that into consideration. I think if you're a mixer and you're against Jesy, rather than putting the energy into criticizing her, being rude to her, enough has happened to her now. Okay, go and spend your time supporting who you want to support, and leave the people who wanted to support her, right? And also for those of us over here in the baddie side, right? Let's not send hate back, because we don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we cause another situation like what happened with Daniel over there, because then it's going to make us just look just as bad, honestly. And it's going to make us be just like those people, which we don't want to be, because we're over here and we have positivity and we have love, which is what I'm extending to all of you. Love you all so much. Thank you all so much for supporting this channel. Don't forget to check out the petition. If I forget to put it in the description box, you guys let me know, or go ahead and put it yourself if you want, but I'm going to do my best to add the petition in there. Read it, check it out, and take some time, guys. Take some time to think about how you're going about, you know, saying and doing the things that you want to do, and how you're how you're conveying your opinion. You know, think about those things. Think about those things. Think about the consequences. And if anything, look into AK-47, because I'm telling you, if you look into AK-47 and you see what happened, you see how cocky he was, thinking that he was funny, making a whole video about how he's running from the police. Now he's going to be in prison until he's going to be in prison for 55 years. 55 years. He's going to be 74 years old when he gets out of prison. 74, and he's gone in at 19. In America, he's not even been old enough to even drink alcohol yet. How crazy is that, right? So, bit of a heavy one, I know, guys. But, you know, we have to address these things because it's important to, because people are losing lives. People are questioning taking their lives. I've spoken to so many of you guys whose mental healths have been attacked as a result of all of this. And I'm so sorry to hear that this has happened for you guys. But hopefully you guys have all been so strong this far, and I know we're all working really hard, you know, to continue soldiering on, supporting the people that we care about, looking after ourselves, and hopefully planting good seeds out there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it, and let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below, as I always say. Also, of course, don't forget to hit the like button, which I really appreciate that. Other than that, God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.